So, as I understand it, this kind of final film has the most traps in it than any other. I think it's 11 traps, I think. So, Mark, Oren, Kevin, can you guys kind of talk about how you came up with the new traps for the film, and knowing that this was the last film, was it an issue of kind of trying to outdo all the others?
Kevin Greutert is like mild-mannered director by day and serial killer by night. You know, you look at him and you wouldn't think that he has this devious, devilish side inside him, but he consistently comes up with them.
Well, I don't do it by myself, but I've had a lot of mornings in the last 2 years where I walk into the office and just start hammering people. Okay, what's grosser than that? What's more horrible than that? And you know, if somebody's getting stabbed by 2 spikes, I'll be like, oh, wait, there can be more. What about spikes in here and spikes in, you know? It's sick, and I spend a lot of time looking at illustrations of medieval torture devices and not so medieval, and unfortunately you have to really immerse yourself to consistently come up with stuff, and the other people involved in the crew have been part of that. It requires going a little bit crazy, I think, but you know, by pushing the envelope, it just makes it good.
All right, so this film, first SAW film to be displayed in 3D. It was conceived in 3D, shot in 3D. It uses actually a new technology, if I'm not mistaken. I've got it here, the SI3D digital camera system. So Kevin, can you talk about shooting in 3D and what it was like to use kind of this cutting edge technology?
Yeah, it was challenging, but definitely the right choice for the film. I was a little bit intimidated going in just because I'd never done anything with cameras like this, and I had watched and studied a lot of 3D stuff, thinking, oh, it might make it really hard to make it feel like a SAW movie because it's just so different, and the cameras are complicated, and there's a larger camera crew, and there's cables everywhere, and lenses that sticking out in different directions. As it turns out, these cameras that we used were very lightweight, and we were able to shoot it almost the same as we were the other SAW films. So there was a lot of handheld stuff, easy to put it on a crane, easy to put it in nooks and crannies, and do all the sorts of things that we always did on SAW films. But on top of that, it was in 3D. So at the end of the day, it was a fantastic choice, and I was happy with the experience.
And Mark and Oren, I've asked you this before, but was there like a finally moment when you were able to do this in 3D? Because no other film, in my opinion, lends itself to 3D than a SAW movie.
I mean, we talked to Kevin and saw different technologies right up to when we started SAW VI. We were actually contemplating doing it and open to it. And in all of the tests that we did, it never really, the technology wasn't there for the way that Kevin wanted to shoot. So for us, and literally, I think the cameras we got were delivered a week. And I'm not, people exaggerate, but I literally think we didn't get them for a week.
Yeah, the first camera that was available was just before we started shooting. We only had one. Usually when we shoot a SAW movie, we're always running at least 2 cameras at a time, sometimes 3. So for the first 2 weeks, they were in Germany building a second camera for us so that we could do multiple camera stuff. But it made it very challenging when we had an elaborate prosthetic that needed to get sliced open, and you only get one shot, one take on it. So if it's just one camera, it makes it very hard. So we were very happy when the second and then the third cameras arrived, and by that time we went nuts and shot probably 3 times as much footage as we did for any of the other SAW films.
Okay. So now I want to talk about the fans for a second, because the SAW films have a pretty rabid fan base. So again, this is for the whole panel, and I was just curious, first, do you have any interesting fan encounters that you could talk about? Do you stay in contact with the fans, and what did you do for this final film to kind of, make it for the fans?
I think fan encounters probably, I think since the 3 of us are behind the camera, I think there's got to be the craziest fan encounter is going to have to be the Tobin story, because you're so recognizable.
that's 9 skateboarders, 11 to 13. Come up to me, you're the man. I said, well, yeah, I guess I am. When's the next one coming out? October. what do you like about the, oh, great. And I said, yo, you like them, huh? He said, yeah, we like them. What do you like about them? And this little guy down the end says, they're so real, and they're so crazy. And I said, oh, okay. And then he said, I'm telling you, he was the smallest of all of them. He said, and they teach you stuff. And I said, what did they teach you? And he said, well, like when you said to the detective in SAW II, if you knew the exact moment of your own death, detective, how would that change how you live your life? And I'm like, he's not talking about the traps and the blood, and I think he's talking about this idea that just kind of came across the screen and was juxtaposed by all of this intensity going on around it. And somehow that line resonated for him. You know, so there have been some interesting concepts in the films that fans talk about a lot, about appreciating your blessings and the treatment of the terminally ill by the medical community, you know, stuff like that. So, want another one?
Yes, please.
Yes.
I'm in the hotel in Toronto, and I decided to go out for an arugula salad around midnight, and I put on my hoodie, and it's cold, but I figure I'll jog, and I run to Queen Street and go into the Queen Cafe, and the place is almost closed. There's still a barmaid behind the counter, and I go up to the counter and I look at the menu, and I say, I'll take the arugula salad with chicken. And she's on her way down the bar toward me, and I got the hoodie on. And she's like, oh my God, no. And she fled to the other end of the bar.
Did you get your salad?
I said, no, it's just a movie. It's a movie. Look. And I took off the hood, and we became good friends. And I see her every time I go in there, and so, you know, very interesting experiences because people tell you how they feel about the films, and so those are the two stories that come to mind.